The Florida Holocaust Museum in St. Petersburg is entering their 27th year with some extraordinary new exhibits, including a recent donation of over 500 artworks from a Holocaust survivor. Executive Director Elizabeth Gelman joins us this morning with the details. Good morning. Glad to have you here.
Thank you so much for having me here. I'm so delighted.
Yeah, this is really exciting news to hear about this donation. And we're getting a sneak peek this morning because it's not an exhibit yet. You guys just received these. Tell us why this is such a big deal.
So, first of all, anytime we get a donation of over 500 pieces, that is an extraordinary amount to come with us. We have about 17,000 objects and art and artifacts in our collection, but this is very special, and it's special to me because these works by Toby Fluick, who's an artist, were in a book called Life in My Polish Village, and it's a book that I actually read to my own children when they were younger, so these have a special meaning to me. And the drawings are beautiful because it really traces what her life was like before the war, which is such an important component.
Well, and let's go ahead and show some of these. I know it'll kind of give us a good picture of, wow.
So you can see life before the war, when the Russian occupation started happening, and then when the Nazis came into her Polish village. And it is extraordinarily personal and meaningful, but in a way that is gentler, I would say, than looking at a photograph or reading about some of the terrible atrocities that happened. She escaped from the ghetto. Her story is fascinating. And with this donation here, this is actually a picture of her when she and her sister were getting ready to escape the ghetto that they were in.
I got goosebumps.
I know. It is there's a hospital on fire. This donation was very special because in addition to these beautiful paintings, they have the drawings that she made when she was getting ready to make them, as well as some of her own diaries, her personal photographs. And
how did we get these? Is she still around? I mean,
So she's not alive. Her family was looking for a place to place this. They talked to Holocaust centers and research centers all across the United States, and we were so honored and privileged that they decided on us. And part of that.
Why do you think they did that?
So part of it has to do with the relationship they have with our curator, who is just a brilliant curator, Erin Blankenship, and she has been talking with them since 2005 when the museum had a small exhibition of Toby Fluick's work. She stayed in contact, and they were so impressed with her and her care while they were here that they just kept coming back to us. And
so what happens now before we get on to our next, because you have, these were all donated, and then will they eventually be on display?
Yes, we're really excited about them because of the content. We are making sure that they are taken care of and conserved properly, but in the next couple of years, we'll be seeing them on the walls of the museum, as well as in the curriculum that we share throughout the state of Florida.
Okay. Now, before we run out of time, let's talk about Bill Graham and this rock and roll exhibit.
So excited about this. So this is going to be a lot of fun, which I actually don't get to say very often. So Bill Graham was this iconic rock and roll promoter. He discovered and promoted and really launched the careers of people like Grateful Dead, Santana, the Allman Brothers, you name somebody.
Where on earth is the Holocaust connection? Okay.
So he, when his family moved from Russia to Berlin right before the Nazis took power. When they took power and things really started to go wrong, his mother sent him away. He was like 10 years old. The rest of the family, most of them, were sent to a concentration camp and did not survive. But he hid in the forests for many, many years and finally came as a refugee to the United States. And so, whereas he never called himself a survivor because he didn't feel that he had been in a concentration camp.
He certainly was close enough.
Our definition, he certainly is a survivor.
So some of his, what is on display there,
So there is about his story, there's a lot of his personal items, but there's a lot of rock and roll memorabilia that is out there. We have, you know, the Santana's guitar, we have a costume that Jimi Hendrix.
Yeah, I can see why you're excited about this,
it's Janis Joplin's tambourine, you know, get me started. So it'll be fun, and that opens August 18th.
All right, good to know. All right, before we let you go, tell us about Trunks of
Hope. Trunks of Hope. So we are basically primarily an educational institution, and the museum is one of the ways we educate about the Holocaust. But we send free of charge to any teacher who wants it these huge trunks, and I couldn't bring one because I can't lift them, but they are filled to the brim with books and videos and curriculum and posters.
Teach in the classroom?
To teach in the classroom.
Wow.
Any teacher, Florida is our primary market, but they go all across the country, but they're free to teachers. However, they actually are not free to send. It costs us $300
so that's why you're raising
round
this
trip.
campaign.
So right now we're trying to raise money, and so I hope your audience will be generous.
I hope you come back because there's just too much to talk about. So please come back. Thank you so much for your time this morning.
Thank you for having me.
Some great stuff coming up at the museum.
Appreciate it.